We do have a poll question for you tonight. We are asking, is the government doing enough to combat poaching? Share your views. You can also give us your thoughts on what should be done. 22422 is the SMS number. Start to share your views now. Do start with a yes or no for your vote to count. Also, let's take a look at some of the statistics just before we go into our interview tonight. On rhino poaching, now, did you know Kenya has the 4th largest population of rhino in the world? And KWS estimate that we have a rhino population of 1,042, which is not a lot. Now, 600 of those are the black rhino, which are extremely endangered. We'll be talking more about that in a moment. Kenya lost 30 rhino to poachers in 2012. Last year, 2013, the country lost 60 rhino to poachers. Now, that's doubling every year, which is extremely worrying. Rhino are being poached in our national parks, in our reserves, and also in our conservancies. Now, this is interesting. Rhino horn is purportedly used for medicinal purposes, particularly in Vietnam and China. And there are claims that it gives strength, that it cures cancer and acts as an aphrodisiac as well. But the fact is that rhino horn is made up of keratin, which is similar to your fingernails. And with that information, let's go straight to our interview. We're delighted to have with us in studio to discuss these matters Paula Kahumbu, who is the CEO of Wildlife Direct and an active conservationist. And also with us we have Alex Awiti, who's an ecologist and also heads the East Africa Institute. Thank you both so much for making time to be with Sunday Live.
Thank you for having us.
You've watched the conversation go live on Twitter. The one question that's asked is, do people really care about their animals? I think it's clear that there's a large group of people who do care. But Paula and Alex, the deaths, the poaching, the increase in numbers has been so shocking, especially in the view of the fact that we have new legislation. The simple question is, what's going on? Paula, let's begin with you.
You know, just yesterday, Julie, I was in Lower, and we got a call that there was gunshots heard in Olpejita, which is very close by, another conservancy. I was with the Lower board. They're made up, the Kenyan board is made up mainly of Kenyans. You know, Julius Kipngetich is on that board, James Moria.
Centum Investment.
Yes, exactly. Mbuvi Ngunze from Kenya Airways. And so I said to them, let's go guys, let's go and see them. And the response I get from most people when I say, let's go and have a look at this crisis at the front line. I say, no, it'll be too painful, it'll be difficult, we can't do that. But actually, it's essential. It's essential because if you only relate to this crisis by the photographs, the headline photographs, it doesn't sink in very deep.
And as you talk, I'm going to ask the team, Carol, our director, please can we have the pictures on the screen, because you did take pictures while you were there. Please continue to tell us what you saw.
Well, you know, we went, in the end, when initially there was only 1 or 2 people said they'd come, in the end we had 2 vehicles full of members of the board from Kenya, USA, Canada and UK. People we picked up in Nanyuki on the way, including Jagi Gakunju, who works with African Air Rescue. Yeah. And we went to see this rhino, and I can't tell you how it was so shocking. James Moria was at a loss for words. I recorded him talking, and he actually couldn't really speak. He couldn't explain how he felt about it.
How long was it between the hearing of the gunshots and you getting to the site and seeing this animal butchered?
So what's so sad, Julie, this animal was shot on Friday night at 6 o'clock in the evening. It was shot right in the middle of Olpejita. Olpejita is huge, it's a very vast conservation.
Olpejita is also very heavily guarded.
It's one of the best protected conservation areas in Africa. They have sniffer dogs, attack dogs, security that are trained by special forces, they have helicopter on standby, they have aircraft on standby, they have military gear. The people who are doing this are from within. They're not just some random chap who stumbles upon a rhino.
So Paula, you're saying from what you saw, it was clear it was internal, there is collusion, and the cartels are within the system.
In 1 week, we lost 6 rhinos a couple of weeks ago.
6?
Nakuru, Ngulia, Solio, Olpeja. You know, what is happening is collusion. It's not just the conservancy people. It's many other government agencies are involved in this. There is no way you shoot a rhino at 6 o'clock. They immediately put roadblocks on all the roads around. Those guys.
How do you get through? How do you get through? But also, how do they channel the money in this trade? How does it get through those roadblocks, but also through the borders? How does it... Let me come to Alex. Alex, what's going on?
Julie, I think this is catastrophic. I think this is a national disaster. I think at many levels, this whole wildlife trade, especially poaching, that takes out the rhinos and the elephants and the tigers, is basically in the league of drug cartels, the narcotics. It is in the same league as human trafficking. It is in the same league as gun running. These are international syndicates. There is big money, pretty big money. The market for these wildlife products is not in this country. So it means that they have to take this stuff outside. Someone is watching. Our ports and custom controls, where are these people? We have to bring in the sophisticated guns to take out these animals. Where is our security agency? So I think at the next level, this is a huge moral question. It is a political question. It plays at the heart of our national security concerns, and it is an economic disaster. Aside from the great problems it's going to cause in conservation and environmental sustainability.
Now, last year, we had a show, Africa Leadership Dialogues, where we discussed this in a panel session, and a great mind, intellectual Dan Ariely, was with us. And he's come in from outside the country, but he said it doesn't matter what laws you put in place, the bribes will just get more expensive if you don't deal with the values issue, if you don't deal with the moral issue. And so, Alex, how do we start? If we really say this is important, and it seems for many people it is important, how do we start to ensure it's part and parcel of what we truly live and believe? And I ask this in the context of many communities which are really struggling with the human-wildlife conflict and might be asking themselves, I've got to feed myself today, why should I care about these animals?
I think what we need to see right now, these pictures is they're gross. And what I've been telling Paula is that elephants are not just some random animal running around the landscape. They have feelings, they have memories, they have strong social structures. So taking out one elephant destroys a whole social cohesion, a whole social biology, and the constitution of how these animals are organized from a social perspective.
Do we care? Do people care enough?
So these are the things that we need to start getting out there. For instance, people out in the Far East who buy the rhino horns and the elephant tusks think these things fall out of dead animals, that they kind of just shape them like they leaves on a tree. I think we need to start taking out a very serious message to the political leadership of this country. We just had a whole week of a retreat in Mount Kenya talking about a wage bill that is out of control. We had a one-day thing at KICC. We need to see President Uhuru Kenyatta lead from the front, because we're talking about a wage bill that is out of control, revenue that is declining, an economy that is staggering under too many issues. Conservation and wildlife revenues are a big part of our economic driving force. If we kill that, if tourists see every day the decimation and the blatant butchering of animals, they will not come here. For instance, they took out rhinos in Nakuru at 10 a.m. on one day. Another time they came out at 3 p.m. in the afternoon in broad daylight.
So they're not scared.
They're not scared. So it shows you that these guys can come and take out just about anything.
Paula, you called today on President Uhuru Kenyatta to declare that rhinos are a national treasure. So let's take it a step forward. Does this situation need to be declared a national disaster?
I think it is a national... it's an emergency. There's no other way to put it, Julie. You look at what other presidents have done. The Chinese have declared the panda bear a national treasure. The Chinese eat everything, but they will not.
They don't eat panda bear.
Because the leadership made it clear this animal matters so much to the people of China that even children in kindergarten know. And the panda bear is on everything. It's a symbol on every single thing. We do have elephants on many of our logos. Have elephants. But we don't seem to recognize that we're losing our identity. And so I think that the president has a very, very instrumental role to bring that value to Kenyans. And it's essential that we push it through every single channel, including the schools.
Perhaps important also to say at this point, as we call on the president to really stand up and act on this, decisively is the fact that Society for International Development, which does a lot of research and scenario building in Africa, has actually stated that if we do not protect and preserve what we have in terms of wildlife and natural resources, we will have nothing in the future. It's not about industrialization for our region. It's not about mechanization necessarily. It's about the wealth that we have today. I was speaking to our group managing director earlier today, and this is a passion of his, Washira Waruru, and he says, Julie, but let's just be honest, South Africa is struggling, and they're losing even more animals than we're losing in Kenya. The truth is, technologically, they're more advanced than we are. Is this a losing battle? Do we have to have drastic measures and even talk about involving perhaps the military? Yeah. Alex, come in on this first, please.
Well, I think the leadership has to come from the presidency, because clearly KWS is unable to sort this out. And I think the scale and the magnitude of sophistication of these cartels is beyond the provincial mandate of Kenya Wildlife Service. This has to be escalated to a national security problem, because this is the money, the proceeds made out of poaching, that is fueling the ranks of Al-Shabaab, and they become hitters. So it is as if we're loading the gun and handing it back to an assassin who comes to take us out. So this is why I think Kenya must lead on this, because we get hurt. We were hit by terrorists. So many people live in fear every day. This is affecting the pace of economic growth.
What a cycle. We lose our animals. It funds in part terrorism.
Absolutely.
The terrorism comes back and claims our lives. On that note, we're going to take a break. Sunday Live takes a break right now. But we come back with your questions and your comments on Twitter, which we'll put to Paula Kahumbo and to Alex Awiti as well. Continue to share your views, and of course the poll question as well on SMS on the way. Stay with Sunday Live.